Jai Hind children, welcome to my YouTube channel SOS Study Point. Student, today I am here with a very new topic of your Hornbill book from class 11th. This is the first poem of your book Hornbill. This is a photograph. So let us see this poem and try to understand what is the theme of the poem and plot and also the literary devices which is used in this poem. So let's see. Now student, you can see on your screen this picture. In this picture you can see two little girls and one doll. So this poem a photograph which is composed by Shirley Tolson. Now you know. So let us see about the poetess. So first of all, we should know something about the author, poet and poetess just before we study the poem or any fictional text. So now let's see about the Shirley Tolson. You know, this poetess Shirley Tolson was born on 20th May 1924 in Henley-on-Thames, which is situated in England, as a daughter of Douglas Horsfall Taxton and Marjorie Brown. You know, she had a huge passion on writing and was greatly influenced by her father, who was a writer too. He secured a BA in literature from Brockenhurst College in London in the year 1953. Shortly, she took writing as career. She took writing as a career, but also served as the editor for many magazines in meantime. She married with Alan Bronson on 6th of February 1960. They had 3 children, Janet Sayers, Ian Tolson and Stephen Bronson. But after 9 years, they divorced on March 1969. She was greatly influenced by Celtic Christianity. So this is very important line. She was greatly influenced by Celtic Christianity. Her major works like Celtic Alternative in 1987 and Celtic Year in 1993 were on the topic. But these works indeed made her more famous. So let's see this poem, which is a collection of Celtic Year. Now, so this point is given here, introduction of the lesson. Notice the lesson, this is poem. So this introduction of the poem. This poem, a photograph, is written by Shirley Tolson. In this poem, she recalls her mother and her memories while looking at a childhood photograph when her mother was 12 years old or so. She has been deceased 12 years ago and she cannot explain her grief on her mother's loss. So now, on the basis of this, you can see here, she recalls her mother with the help of that photograph, that portrait which was on the wall. In that photograph, her mother was just 12 years old or so. Now, let's see another thing. So theme here. This is the theme of this poem. Now, in this poem, you will see this poem is a tribute to the poet's mother. She was looking at an old photograph of her mother, which has a frame of cardboard. The picture has 3 girls, in which the middle one is the oldest and tallest. It is her mother when she was 12 years old or so. Beside her, on both sides, are her 2 cousins, Betty and Dolly, who are holding her hands and are younger than her. They went for paddling on a beach holiday. Her uncle took the photograph then. The poet could not help but notice her mother's sweet face. The sea touched her terribly transient feet, which depicted that the changed over the years and the sea remained the same. After 20-30 years, her mother would laugh at the photograph. She would make the poet look at the photograph and tell her how their parents would dress them up for the beach holiday. The beach holiday was the mother's favorite past memories, while her laugh was the poet's favorite memory. Both of them lost something which they cherished a lot and yet cannot live that moment again. Those sweet moments were memorized now. Now, the poet's mother had been dead for the past 12 years, which is the same number as of her age when the photograph was taken back then. She cannot express the grief that she has from her mother's absence. Now, on the basis of this theme, you can understand here this poem is totally a tribute to the poet's mother, because in this poem you can imagine she was just looking of her mother's photograph, which was in the frame of cardboard, and in that photograph there was three girls. Two were smalls and one was tall. So tallest one was the mother of the poetess. You know, she was just 12 years old or so, and two other were cousin of her mother, Betty and Terry. They were just celebrating their holiday at the beach, and they were just they were just taking fun at the beach, and they wore a funny dress. To look that things, the poetess just smiled and laughed. But here she imagined how they were happy that time, and the picture which was in the frame of cardboard was taken by her uncle. And now this time at the last, this poetess did not have any other evidence, while she had the memories of her mother, and she cannot express her feeling in words because she was unable to express her feeling in words. She can imagine, she can feel only. So this is the pain which was just feeling by this poetess by heart. So let's see in detail this poem. Now, in the first four lines, the cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling. You know, paddling means walking. Each one holding one of my mother's hand. It means poetess mother. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. So in this stanza, you can see here the poet is looking at an old photo album which is made up of cardboard. In the picture, there are three girls who are walking on the beach holding each other's hand. The girl in the middle is the tallest and oldest. The other two girls on each side are younger than her. The girl in the middle is the poet's mother. She is around 12 years old when the picture was taken. So now here they were just taking enjoy at the beach. In that picture which was taken by her uncle, that was in that picture mother was the tallest one and two small girls were there who were the cousin of poet's mother. Now, next, all three stood still to smile. Sorry, I just want to tell you something. Cardboard. Cardboard, this is the word, it means cardboard. This is not the cardboard only, this is the picture. So, here this word just showing the figure of speech allusion. Allusion which have a different meaning, different word. Okay. Now, in this stanza, all three stood still to smile through their hair. At the uncle with the camera, a sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, was their terribly transient feat. Now, first thing which I would like to tell you, stood still to smile. In these three words, you can see the first letter of the word is S. So here this figure of speech is alliteration, in which letter S is repeated. Okay. So now in these lines, the poet describes how the photograph was taken. Her mother's uncle took the photograph and told them to stop and pose. All three of them left their weight here open and smiled at the camera. So just keep remember, all three of them left their weight here open and smiled at the camera. The poet's attention is drawn towards his her mother's face, which is described as a sweet face. The photograph was taken long before the poet was born. The poet calls their feet terrible transient, as they were so young by then, and now they had grown older. On the other hand, the sea, which touched their feet, has changed less. So, according to this stanza, first thing, transient feet, it means short term, it means temporary feet. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. Means when the uncle was just going to take that picture and also going to just capture that scene by his with his camera, that time all three just stood still and also smiled through their wet hair, and they were just peeped through the wet hair. A sweet face, my mother's, means her mother's face was looking very sweet. That was before I was born. So it was just before she was born. And the sea, which appears to have changed less. And now the sea, which has been just changed but less, was their terribly transient feet. Now this sea just was the stamp of the feet of her mother's cousin. So now this is the content, this is the explanation of this stanza. Now the next one is some 20-30 years later. It is just talking about 20-30 years later. She had laughed at the snapshot. See, Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past, mine is her laughter. Both were with the labored ease of loss. Now, in this stanza, the poetess want to tell us that after 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the photograph. She would tell me to look at her cousin, Betty and Dolly, and how their parents would dress all three of them for the beach. So she was just imagining about the get-up of them. They would have planned to take a photograph beforehand. The poet recalls the sea holiday was her mother's favorite moment from the past. So this is the thing which was just imagined by the poetess about her mother's favorite moment which was in the past, while the poet's favorite moment from the past was her mother's laughter. So this was her This was also the favorite moment related to her mother's life. So her mother's favorite moment was the holiday, and the poetess favorite moment from the past was her mother's laughter. Both the women would think about those past memories which they cannot live again. They tried their best to adjust what they lost. So here you can see at the very last stanza both vary with the level is of loss. Is of loss here just show the oxymoron. Level is this we can see here oxymoron. Now this is the last stanza. In this stanza you can see now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It's silence, silences. So here you can see the repetition, silence, silences. But with the help of these lines, the poetess want to say that the poet says that her mother died when she was just 12 years. The poet says that her mother died 12 years ago. The same is her mother was in the photograph. Whenever the poet thinks of her mother's death, she cannot explain what effect she has of her mother's death. Death has silenced her mother, which has also left her speechless. So now here, the poet is also in very sad mood, also in the grief. That is why she was unable to express her feeling, because she was speechless. She cannot express her grief in words, and she can feel the grief of her mother. So she lost her mother. Now let us see the poetic devices which is used in this poem. Allusion. So this figure of speech is used in this poem basically in the word cardboard. So but you can see here the meaning of this allusion. An allusion is a reference or an incidental mention of something, either directly or by implication. Example of allusion in this poem is cardboard, which actually refers to that photograph. Alliteration, it means the repetition of letter is called alliteration. Initial letter. Oxymoron, there are two opposite ideas which are joined to create an effect, just like labored is in this poem. Labored means great difficulty, while ease means comfortable. So these are just opposite in meaning. And the personification, the situation has been given the human quality of silence. The example is its silence silences. This is personification. Epithet, a phrase expressing a quality of a person or something, like terribly transient. This is just showing the quality of a feat which can be washed again and again. So this was the epithet. So now these are the poetic devices which you can understand better with the help of this video. So student, I hope this will help you a lot to understand this poem. Thank you for watching. So just take help of this video to understand the poem. Thank you. Have a nice day.